Hi everyone! I'm back with another Reddit post that I want to share with you guys. It's from Best of Redditors Update. So here it is. AITA for telling my aunt her child is a spoiled brat and it's entirely her fault. My 23 female aunt, 41 female, that I will call Karen, has been married to my uncle, 43 male, for a little over a year. She has a daughter, 12 female, that I will call Emily, from a previous relationship, and my uncle always treated her like his own daughter, even though he only came into her life when she was 9, because she never really had a father figure growing up. When their relationship got serious, my uncle introduced both of them to our family, and ever since they have been present at most gatherings and family holidays. I never liked Karen because she was always very demanding and always forcing people around her to do what she wanted. She never had any respect for anyone, but that's another story. Just to give some examples, she would always show up late to events or just not come at all. And when I say late, I mean 45 minutes to an hour late. Even when people had told her it was important to be on time and never apologized for it, she always asked other people to do things for her, like go get something, go to the shop, or just anything that she didn't want to do, and never took no for an answer. That's just some of it. She has said multiple times that she expects to be treated like a princess. What? That's ridiculous. My family always found her impolite and disrespectful, but we didn't really say anything because my uncle seemed happy with her, so good for him. The real problem, however, was her daughter. I can't begin to explain all the disrespectful and entitled things that she has done, but I will try and list some of them. When she was first introduced to us, I was 20 and would normally sit at the adults' table. She, however, decided it was unfair that I got to sit with the adults and she didn't. So she demanded that either she could sit with the adults or I come back to the children's table. Just to remind you, she was 10 at that time. Instead of explaining to her that I was an adult and she was a child, and therefore we did not sit at the same table, my aunt told me to go to the children's. What? There's an age difference of like 10 years. When I said that I didn't want to, especially because children were between 7 and 14 and I was much older, she says that if I was so immature that I didn't want to switch tables, I didn't deserve to be at the adults' table. Ever since then, she made sure that I was seated with children. That is just being ridiculous. Her daughter would always ask me to go play with her, even when I was doing something else or working. And when I say no, she would throw a tantrum. Her mother always yelled at me for making a child cry or not being a good cousin, and forced me to go play with her. But when I went to play with her, Emily would only ask me to do things for her, like make her a snack, or dress her dolls for her, or would throw a tantrum if I didn't. She will always steal my stuff, especially my makeup and clothes. When I told her not to, because 1, she didn't ask for permission, and 2, she was too young to use makeup. She once again threw fits, and her mother forced me to be generous. She ruined a lot of my stuff, and when I got mad, my aunt just said she was just a child. For some reason, she was always very jealous of me. Everything I had, she demanded I gave it to her. When I got my bachelor's degree, my family threw a party to congratulate me, but she got angry that she didn't have all the attention and a party for her. So my aunt threw the exact same party at the same place the next day. Wow, that's really entitled. Every present I had, she would ask her mom for and eventually get. She would make every event about her, even my birthdays. I try to let it slide and be patient with her, and I try to tell myself that she was just a child. But her behavior didn't seem to change as she grew up. If anything, she was becoming even more entitled. My last straw was 2 days ago. We were celebrating my birthday. I was born at the beginning of May, but we waited until June to celebrate to make sure that we could have good weather, as we had planned to have a birthday party in my grandparents' garden. As soon as she arrived, which was approximately 1 hour late, Emily started complaining that we were celebrating my birthday 1 month after the real one. She claimed that if we were doing that, we could celebrate her birthday too, since she didn't have one because it's close to Christmas. To clarify, her birthday is November 29th, which is still a month before Christmas, and her mother always made a point to throw her a real party and not just group it together with Christmas. Karen would always make a very big deal out of it, and we would always buy her very nice gifts. But she conveniently forgot about that and complained for about 10 minutes before her mother gave in and asked my grandmother to go buy another cake and candle for Emily, as we will also be celebrating her birthday. That is crazy. Straight up crazy. We're in the month of June and her birthday is in November, and you want to celebrate it? Like, literally 5 months before her actual birthday? Wow. Emily then complained it wouldn't be a real birthday because she had no gifts, but Karen said that people had time to go buy her something, and that if there wasn't any gifts for her, we could share mine, as I had plenty. I was furious. I went to my grandmother's house and asked if she had any cardboard boxes that I could use. I took one and pretended to wrap it as a gift. Inside, I only put one thing, a note saying, "Congratulations on being such a spoiled brat. But don't worry, it's not your fault. Your entitled mother raised you that way. Hope you enjoy your present." Yes, it is immature, but I just had enough. She had ruined all of the most important moments of my life for the past 3 years, and I was so tired of it. When people sang happy birthday to me, Emily and Karen made sure to sing happy birthday, dear Emily, instead of my name, loudly enough to cover all of the other people there. I was so angry, but I thought she wasn't going to be smiling that way for long. I was right. As soon as she opened my present, she started screaming and throwing a tantrum. When she saw what I had written, her mother started yelling at me, but I was just smiling at her the whole time. She called me many names and immediately left with Emily. My family members did not really react, as no one really liked Karen or Emily. However, I have received plenty of texts from my aunt and uncle, and even some from other members of the family, saying that I was a huge a-hole for ruining a little girl's birthday. I did not yet reply, because I don't regret what I did. But I keep thinking, maybe I went too far. Am I the a-hole? So the OP also put in some relevant comments. So someone asked, needing on OPP on needing to tell her parents and uncle about his wife's behavior. OP responded, says, "I agree, but the thing is, my uncle for some reason really loves Karen, and every time that someone in our family has made a comment about her being rude or disrespectful, she got mad at him, which made all of us very sad for him. The reason why my parents and I don't say anything, or at least in front of Karen, is to avoid creating problems for my uncle. Also, most of the things I've said happened while my parents weren't there to hear it, and I didn't necessarily tell them everything that Karen and Emily did or say because I did not want to create more drama in the family." Yeah, I agree. He is very much a non-confrontational person, and she is his wife, so he just doesn't say anything. I really don't blame him because, according to my dad, she has threatened him multiple times to leave, and since he earns more than her and she takes care of their house, well, let's just say a divorce wouldn't be in his favor. So yeah, I somehow feel bad for him because he really loves her, and I think he would do anything to stop her from leaving. Yeah, the reason why my parents aren't mentioned is because most of the time when things like that happen, they weren't there, and I didn't always tell them because I didn't want to create any drama. While I am technically an adult, in the family I am still a child, if that makes sense. Karen is the generation above me, so in a way she has the authority. But the main reason why I comply most of the time is because otherwise she would start fights with my uncle about how his family treated her and her child, and I didn't want him to have problems as he is normally very sweet and already has to endure enough living with the both of them. Yeah. I mean, based on just what you guys heard, I mean, when I was reading it at first, I was like, man, Karen and Emily are so entitled. First of all, you married into this family, Karen. You should be respectful and be treated like a princess. Come on, man. Like, are you royalty or something? That's just ridiculous. And there's a saying: you want respect, you gotta show respect first. And the way that as she's raising her child, Emily, she is 12. She knows better than to act like that. And as the OP had mentioned, it's not really the Emily's fault that as she is the way she is, because her mother brought her up that way. Her mother's teaching her how to be like that. And that's not the way to be living your life. Like, that's not, she's just gonna grow up to be some entitled kid, and then she's not gonna have any friends. And she's gonna wonder why. Or she's gonna have some kind of complex and be like, oh yeah, they're so like, oh, people are just so disrespectful to me. But in reality, you're the one who's being disrespectful, all right? If you want something, you should ask politely. Emily is definitely the definition of a spoiled brat. I mean, you throw a tantrum when you don't get your way. Come on, man. Are you like 6? Are you still like a little kid? You're 12. That is just ridiculous, okay? But anyways, OP does provide some updates, so let's get to it. Update number 1. First of all, I would like to thank everyone that commented and gave me their opinion on my previous post. I just got a call from my dad and he told me multiple things, so I'm going to try and tell all of them before I forget. First, he told me that my uncle called him right before he called me and told him that he understood where I was coming from and wasn't blaming me for saying something. But at the same time, he said that I should have known better than to humiliate Emily in front of everyone and ruin what should have been a great moment. My dad told him that Emily had been constantly harassing me for years and that she humiliated herself by trying to steal somebody's birthday from them. He also told him that it shouldn't have been a great moment for her because it shouldn't have been a moment for her at all. My uncle seemed to understand, but my dad told me that he thought that my uncle couldn't say he agreed with me because otherwise Karen would get mad at him. My uncle also said that it made him sad to have these sort of conflicts in our family because he didn't want to not be able to see my dad or my grandparents, and he just wanted his family to be happy. My dad replied that he should be telling that to his wife because we have always been a happy family with no drama until she came along. My uncle told my dad to ask me to apologize to Karen and Emily so that we could put that in the past, and my dad told him that he would talk to me but would understand if I didn't want to apologize and would have my back. I told my dad that I wouldn't apologize and that I wanted a real apology from Karen and Emily for how they treated me for years, and that until I would ignore them and they wouldn't be invited to any events related to me. My dad also told my uncle that he should really divorce Karen because she treated him and everyone else miserably, and he didn't even understand why he was with her. But my uncle said that it was complicated, and my dad didn't tell me much after that. According to my uncle, more and more family members have started to send messages to Karen to tell her that her behavior was unacceptable and to basically say everything they have kept to themselves for years. My uncle sort of blames me for it because he says that I started a hate train against Karen. But I told my dad that in my opinion, she started that herself. Anyways, he says that it was really bad. Even family members who weren't at my party were sending her texts, and although I feel that might have been going a little too far, I understand because no one has said anything to her for the past 3 years, but at some point it had to come out. In the end, my uncle asked my dad to ask me to come to his house today or tomorrow to talk to Karen and Emily and try to solve the problem. My dad told me that I didn't have to go if I didn't want to. I told him that I wouldn't go alone because I was tired of being bullied by Karen and Emily, but that I would maybe like to go if my parents came with me. I don't really know if I should. I don't think they will miraculously realize that they've been a-holes for years, but at the same time, I have a lot more things to say, And I also tell myself that if Karen will never change, maybe there's hope for Emily to unlearn the behaviors and become a decent adult. I also feel like I have to try to make things better because I feel like everyone sending text to Karen is maybe going a little too far, and I would like for it to get better. I really don't know. Should I go? Now, if it was me, I would go. I would just go and then tell Karen exactly what I think of her and everything that she's been doing, and just let it all out. Because honestly, at least she is aware of the situation. At least she knows what she's done wrong, and you have a clear conscience that at least you tried. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Would you guys do the same thing? Let me know in the comment, all right? So then we're going to go on to update number 2. So I just got back from seeing Karen, Emily, and my uncle. But before I tell you how it went, here are some of the things that I would like to clarify. A lot of you told me not to go on my last update, but it wouldn't change anything, and they would just ask me to apologize, even if it wasn't going to change anything or make them realize how bad their behavior was. At least I can get it off my chest and stop thinking about it and move on with my life, knowing I said everything I had to say. Exactly. That's what I would do too. Also, I had said that I would only go if my dad came with me, if we met in the park instead of their house, if they let me speak without interrupting me, and if they didn't expect an apology from me. I had also clarified that I would leave as soon as one of these conditions wasn't respected or that I felt uncomfortable. Let's see. Anyways, moving on to the interesting part. So I met them about an hour ago in the park, and here's how it went. I had prepared a list of things that I wanted to say, which was basically a list of everything Karen or Emily had behaved like entitled brats. So I told them that and explained in details how disrespectful it was. I managed to keep my calm throughout the entire thing, which I am pretty proud of, and they all had the decency to let me finish without interrupting. So that was a good start. After I had finished, Karen started saying that I was basically complaining for no reason, because some of the things that I had listed were pretty minor and not very important. Since I wanted to tell them everything that had bothered me, I told them about some small and big problems. Karen then pretended like she only heard me talk about the smaller issues, such as asking me to play with my cousin Emily, wanting to try on my makeup, or some of the small comments they made about me. I then told her she knew very well that wasn't the center of the problem, that if everyone had the same problem with her, then maybe we weren't all just very sensitive, and maybe she was actually the problem. She didn't like that and just said that this family didn't know how to treat newcomers too, which I didn't reply. At that point, my uncle came in and said something like, "You asked for an explanation. You got explanation. If you didn't want her to tell you what the problem asked, why did you insist on speaking with her?" to Karen. I think she was too shocked to reply and just said, "That's it, we're leaving." Before they left, Emily turned to me and said, "I'm sorry I ruined your birthday party and your stuff," then left with her mother. Considering the fact that I didn't see much hope and my expectation for this conversation weren't very high, I say it went better than expected. I don't really know if Emily's apology was sincere, but it felt like, especially since her mother didn't see the problem, so I know she wasn't asked to apologize. Karen didn't realize the problem, but I didn't expect her to, so that's okay. And I'm happy my uncle said something to Karen, even though that means he's going to get in trouble. My dad told me that I did well, and now that it was over, we can move on. So yeah, here's the update you're waiting for. So good for the OP for going out and confronting. She is acting like more of an adult than Karen is. I mean, come on. You don't realize you're the issue? I mean, she is just so delusional in this situation. Like, she's just so, how should I say, like, it's all about her pride, I guess. She's like, I don't have the problem, you guys are a problem. It's always, everyone is the problem, I'm never the problem type of attitude. No, man. If everyone is having an issue with you, the common denominator here is you. Anyways, here's update number 3 from the OP. First of all, I would like to thank you all for the support on my last post and on the last 2 posts before that. I never thought I would be writing another update, but here we are. In my last post, I mentioned that my uncle told Karen that she didn't want explanation, she shouldn't have come. And I said that he was going to get in trouble at home for saying that. Well, I was right. About an hour ago, my uncle showed up to our house with a suitcase asking my dad if he can sleep at our house. We immediately understood that he had gotten into a fight with Karen. After we told him to come in, he told us what happened, and I'm going to try and tell you what I remember. When they got home after I talked to them, Karen gave my uncle the silent treatment and ignored him for the whole day. That doesn't really surprise me, honestly, considering how manipulative she is. She knew exactly how to make him feel bad and apologize. However, my uncle didn't want to apologize, so he just accepted his punishment. All hell broke loose this afternoon when he overheard Karen telling Emily that it's perfectly okay for her to behave like she did and to demand things from other people. What? She was basically telling her that it just made her a strong, powerful, and determined woman, and that people got angry because they were scared of that and didn't want her to have that power. My uncle just had enough and intervened to say that being disrespectful wasn't being powerful, and that people who are truly powerful knew how to get what they wanted while respecting others. Karen apparently got very mad and started yelling at him for continuously defending his bee of a niece or something like that. My uncle then told her that everything that I had said to her were facts and things she had really done, and that if that made her uncomfortable and angry, then she should change her behavior and realize she was the problem. Good for you, Uncle. She continued to yell at him, so he went for a drive because he was tired of her screaming. And when he came back, she had locked him outside and put a suitcase with some of his stuff in front of the door. So he came to our house. She is currently not replying to him, and he's thinking about contacting a divorce attorney, which he will try to do tomorrow. My grandparents have also tried to call Karen, but she didn't reply to anyone. I feel kind of bad that I created all of this, but at the same time, it finally made him realize what a terrible person she is. So good for him. What makes me the saddest is that if they divorce, Emily will be left with only her mother to teach her right and wrong, and is probably going to end up like her. It makes me sad because I felt like she was starting to realize how disrespectful her behavior has been, and now I'm not sure she will ever change. But anyways, it seems like we're finally getting rid of Karen, so today is a great day for our family. I also agree. I'm glad that the uncle finally woke up from whatever haze he was in, to realize what an awful, awful person his wife is. And, I really hope that Emily does, realize that to earn respect or to be powerful is, like the uncle said, to be respectful. And I really hope that Emily doesn't follow in her mom's footstep. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this family drama post. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. And remember to like and subscribe.